Hey y'all, are you guys ready to know the recipes for what I made for Sunday dinner today? Well, baby, go ahead and keep watching. I did a cream of mushroom smothered pork chop with some buttery mashed potatoes and some green beans. This recipe comes at the request of one of my subscribers. She's been asking me for a few weeks to replicate one of her mom's recipes. Now, I can't say that I did it like your mama because I don't know her. But I can tell you that this is a really good pork chop with a mushroom gravy, and it is so easy to make. I'm going to start off with 8 ounces of mushrooms, and I like to wash them well. I know some people say you shouldn't wash mushrooms, you should just wipe mushrooms. I don't know. I don't like to just wipe them because I feel like there's going to be too much dirt left behind. I'm also going to take out some of the stems if they're too brown, and then I am going to cut them into slices. Then I am going to mince half of an onion really well because I want this onion to sort of melt into the gravy. I am going to use a little browning bottle to smash this garlic, honey. Just take your anger out on it. That is the easiest way to peel garlic, in my opinion. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to mince this garlic really small. Now, it would not be a Camira's Kitchen recipe if I did not put in some fresh garden herbs. I'm adding in some sage as well as some rosemary and thyme. This is some young thyme that has tender stems. So I'm going to leave most of the stems. But if your thyme stems are woody, then you just want to pluck off the leaves. Then you're going to mince this until it is finely chopped. If you've enjoyed this video already, don't forget to give your girl a thumbs up because you guys know that I'm giving you new full meals every single week. I know some folks gonna say you don't rinse your meat, but do y'all see this water? Okay, this water was just from the first washing. It was cloudy. It had all this gunk in it. I can't do that in my food. Okay, so I have to wash my pork for sure. Okay, after I wash this until the water ran clear, I put in about 3 tablespoons of vinegar and I let this sit for about 15 minutes. Then I made sure to thoroughly dry my pork chops with a paper towel. If you want to try this recipe, but you don't play with the pig, okay, I know a lot of people don't mess with the Piggly Wiggly, okay, then you can substitute in some chicken thighs and you will have a delicious chicken in a smothered mushroom gravy. You can even use the same spices that I use because the seasonings that taste good on pork tend to also taste good on chicken. And I have heard pork called the other white meat. So, hey, who knows? Maybe we on to something, okay? Now, of course, I am going to clean my sink. You can clean your sink with some Dawn. Okay, you know it clean the ducks, it can clean your sink. And of course, you want to wash your hands well. Now for my pork, I am going to keep the seasoning very easy and very simple. I'm going to put on a little bit of olive oil and then I'm going to go in with about a teaspoon of Poultry Magic. This has really low sodium and I'm not adding any additional salt to this meat. I'm also going to use some garlic powder and a little bit of pepper, and I'm just going to make sure that there is a nice coating on both sides of this pork chop. Then I am going to heat my cast iron skillet over medium heat. I'm putting in a bit of olive oil and some butter. The olive oil will keep the butter from burning, and I am going to start by searing my pork. To the people that like to skip this step and stick it straight in the oven, honey, why you do that? Do you not like flavor? Okay, you have to brown your meat in order to get that nice richness and depth of flavor to your foods. It's a step you cannot skip. I am going to brown my meat for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. If you have a thicker cut of pork, you can do it for about 4 minutes. And then I'm going to take them out and put them on a pan at the side. Since I have 6 pork chops, I'm going to be browning these in 2 batches because obviously I didn't want to crowd my pan. If you have to do 2 batches, most likely you're going to find that the spices and things that are at the bottom, especially the ones in the middle, are going to get a little bit too brown. And my heat is not up high. I just find that it can burn sometimes. If it's really dark, you don't want that because that's going to add a bitter taste to your gravy. However, if you do that in a non-stick skillet, then you probably won't have this issue. So I'm just going to go in with my spatula and scrape up the really dark bits, but leave the lighter brown bits on the side because those are fine. I'm going to add a wet paper towel and I'm going to just scoop out those burnt bits and then wipe around the pan. Next, I'm going to add in some more olive oil and butter, and I'm going to continue with sauteing my mushrooms and my onions. I want the mushrooms to really be tender and release a lot of their moisture. So initially, I'm going to saute them for about 3 to 4 minutes without adding any salt. Sometimes adding salt too early to mushrooms can make them a bit tough. Once they have browned and cooked down, I am then going to add in that minced garlic and toast this for about 30 seconds. Then I'm going to put in a little bit of Creole seasoning just to my taste so that now I can start flavoring everything in the pot. Once I added in the fresh herbs, it was like just an explosion of just fragrance and aroma that was all in my kitchen. Guys, this was smelling so good. I'm going to put in 1.5 tablespoons of flour so that I can make sure that my gravy is thick enough. 1 can of cream of mushroom is all I used. You could use 2, but I like to just use this as a base and then sort of stretch it out because I find that when I use 2 cans, the sodium is just way too much for me. So I'm going to add in 3/4 cup of half and half, as well as about 3/4 can of water, which is probably about 1/2 cup. And then I'm going to mix this with the juices from the pork because that has so much flavor. To season this, I'm putting in 2 teaspoons of low sodium chicken bouillon. That is key. Now, I know people's mamas probably wasn't doing this, but I just felt like it needed a little bit of acidity. So about 1/4 cup of dry white wine is going to just set the gravy off to another level. But this is totally optional. Now, I really can't fit 6 pork chops in this skillet, even though there is enough gravy for all of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss 3 of my pork chops in the gravy first because I want to make sure everything is coated. Then I'm going to pick my pork chops up and I'm going to set them jokers to the side, all right? Then I'm going to add the other 3 pork chops in and I'm going to toss them in the sauce, okay? And I'm just going to stack everything up. Okay, at the end of the day, I don't have to have these in a single layer, and these pork chops are pretty thin, so they're going to cook all the way regardless, and technically, you can leave just a touch of pink in pork, and it is actually safe to do. So I'm going to just put all of this together, and then I'm going to put this in the oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. If you have thicker pork chops, then you want to do yours for 25 to 30 minutes. This is my pork chops straight out the oven. They are delicious. This is after I just mixed up the gravy. That little bit of oil separation is normal. You just mix it in and baby, you're going to be fine. This sauce is going to be absolutely delicious with these mashed potatoes with the skins on. But let me know if you're going to try this pork recipe. I am going to show you how to get the most buttery mashed potatoes with just one little trick, okay? So make sure you keep watching to find out. I'm going to be using red skin potatoes today, and I am going to leave the skins on because those skins are full of fiber and vitamins, and they really don't bother me at all in a mashed potato. I'm going to put my 2 pounds of cut potatoes into a pot and cover them with boiling water from my kettle. I like to pre-boil my water just so I can get everything rolling, okay? I like to, just let it be quick. So then I'm going to put in a teaspoon of salt and I'm going to cook these until they are fork tender, which is going to take about 25 minutes or so. But honestly, I've never overboiled potatoes for mash. Then I am going to drain them. Make sure you do not rinse them with cold water. You want them to be nice and hot. We're going to add them straight back to the same warm pot. Now to make them extra buttery, I'm going to put in half of a package of these buttery home-style mashed potatoes. I know some of y'all are like, girl, what you doing, sis? But I'm telling you, this will taste nothing like a boxed mashed potato. Mixed in with the real potatoes, it has a great texture, but these buttery potatoes really do have a nice flavor. I'm also going to add in a cup of milk and about 2 tablespoons of a high quality butter. This is Kerrygold butter, and some salt and some pepper. And then I'm going to mash this until it is creamy. Go ahead and tell me in the comments if you still in this recipe, because I'm telling you right now, once you make this, you are not going to go back to doing it any other way. To go with this meal, I'm doing a simple but delicious green bean. I'm going to add some fresh green beans in with some water and steam them for about 5 minutes. Because green beans are in season, they're going to have a natural sweet taste, and I don't want to mask that flavor at all. Once they have steamed, I'm just going to add in a little bit of butter and salt and pepper. Trust me, if you have high quality green beans, that is all you are going to want, especially to go with the richness of that cream sauce. You don't need anything else. Baby, look at this. Tender pork chops, creamy mashed potatoes, fresh green beans, some rolls. Are you going to make this recipe? My family love this meal. You guys know I love you and Jesus loves you. And I'll see you next time in Camirra's Kitchen. Goodbye and God bless.